What's going on, all you wild predator enthusiasts? It's your two favorite monster enthusiasts back here for Cinephellas. I'm Logan Myers, my good mate over there.
Henry Hill, and we were headed to the jungle. Tonight, we were going to review the classic film from 1987. We're talking about John McTiernan's Predator.
20th Century Fox presents Arnold Schwarzenegger. Predator. The hunt begins Friday, June 12th at theaters everywhere.
Recent craze, and everybody's talking about the brand new Prey film. Me and this guy just reviewed it, had a great time with it. The prequel film to the original 1987 classic and masterpiece, in my opinion. The original, the OG that kicked off this franchise, Predator. And tonight we're going to be going old school, going back to a retro review, talking about the original, because we both just rewatched it again for probably the 100th time over the years, and just revisiting a classic like this, it just gets better and better, and still pretty much a perfect film for me.
The ultimate action picture from 1987. I remember seeing this for the first time with my brother, running the VHS, him bringing it home, me being this little kid watching this, like, holy crap, I can't believe they're doing this. And I can watch it here on TV and witness all this crazy action, the explosions, the huge giant Arnold muscles that we knew and loved from back then, the biggest action star in the world at this time. And he comes into this picture playing Major Dutch Schaefer. He's this, Green Beret, basically commander, leader, and him and his team are being sent in to Central America. I think it's in Guatemala is where they're going to the jungle there. They're told that it's, for a special rescue mission to, retrieve these hostages. But once they get there, the actual story comes out. His mission isn't what the actual mission was.
Yeah, early on they kind of unravel and figure out what's going on exactly, going in to find some people, and then they start noticing a lot of weird things. And what I love about this film, it gets right to the point super fast. Starts off with an over-the-top action scene, shootout with machine guns in the jungle and bodies, back then.
Yeah.
Getting 100 rounds in them, thinking it's these bad guys, but they start noticing weird stuff in the trees. Kind of this transparent looking thing. In the introduction of Predator, it starts to pick off one of them one by one. And before we get to that, it really sets up the most, I guess, over-the-top action testosterone aspect of the film, being the cast. This is one of my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movies for sure, playing Dutch. Such a badass. One of his best roles, like I said. He just really sells this, especially at the end of the film. And then we get Jesse the Body Ventura, with a chew in his mouth in the film. And we have, Shane Black that did the movie that came out a few years ago as a total joke, but he was in the original, always cracking some really raunchy jokes with the rest of the guys. We have Billy, that's like the big Native American guy, which is kind of a tie-in that I noticed watching this with Prey, and a few others that are in the film as well. But obviously Carl Weathers being a big part. Dylan, you son of a bitch! They got you pushing pencils? Yeah.
The greased up biceps, the over the top action, testosterone fueled movie. The action is epic in this movie and so hilarious to watch 80s action nowadays. Now things, are hyper realistic and things like that. And now things, have to be toned back a little bit, where this is just balls to the wall action, grenades exploding. They, have infinite amount of bullets in their guns and infinite amount of grenades to launch out in the jungle. But yet they go toe to toe with this unstoppable, invisible force that's, hiding up in the treetops, and they have to go toe to toe with this creature who's always one up in them. But this movie's cool. Going back to this 80s movie, 1987, watching it on the small screen this time on a big TV though, it really holds up. It really brings you into that time period. And the way that the film was shot, really grainy, and it really feels like you're in the jungle there with these guys, and they're going through this. But one thing that I noticed right away with this movie, watching it again, it wouldn't be as awesome as it was if it didn't have that score that starts from the moment the picture starts. I feel like that really makes the Predator, that pumping score in the background that just gets you pumped up and gets you nervous for what they're going to encounter there in the jungle.
That's right. We have the music or score from Alan Silvestri. He was the one behind Back to the Future. Huh? iconic. Who Framed Roger Rabbit and then The Avengers. So he's done some big films, but this score really sells you. There's a lot of suspense, very claustrophobic. Them being in the jungle, you feel like you're down there with them. Like it's 120 degrees there. You can see all the sweat on their faces, and like you feel like you're down in the trenches with them. Trying to survive from this unseen force. They're trying to figure out what it is exactly. But definitely one of the better horror scores for sure. It really sells you early on. It gets you involved, as an audience, and it just never lets you go. It just gets better and better throughout the film. And then also the music of the Predator itself is really fantastic.
Another thing that I really loved rewatching this recently were the effects of the actual Predator itself and the way that they, made him, he was supposed to be invisible, but you could still kind of see a reflection in it. That was always really cool to me. Something that, when I was a kid, would always pretend that the Predator was up in the tree watching and you'd have to spot him moving. Just that cool effect. Obviously the effects have come a long way, but something simplistic like that, just, I don't know, it felt really cool back then because I was, state of the art. They didn't have all these, they didn't have the technology advancements that we do now, obviously, but I thought that they really did an awesome job with the effects, especially all the practical effects. And we can thank one man for that. Who did the special effects on this film? Do you know?
Stan Winston did the practical. I don't know about
That's correct.
Yeah, I know he did the practical. I wasn't not sure about
Practical.
the visual effects. Yeah, but yeah, you could see like the silhouette of the Predator,
Mhm.
which is really cool. Yeah, I mean, it's in the late 1980s. They didn't have the technology today, but it still holds up for the most part. I think it still looks really convincing and kind of spooky at times. You just see it like up there in the trees, and you see Kevin Peter Hall that played the Predator. He was really great, massive guy. He died really young.
7'2".
7'2", massive dude. Originally, is going to be Jean-Claude Van Damme and his outfit that looked really silly. But I'm glad they went the route they did because it's like looks like a fish, like a Jamaican fish, like when he takes off the mask. It's really cool.
Yeah. I love how they ended up on this design for the Predator. It really is, one of a kind, one of the most iconic monsters on screen ever. And Kevin Peter Hall, so menacing, this giant of a man, and playing the Predator, and how agile he is up in the trees and is able to get away from all these traps and avoid all the bullets and everything. Another thing from this movie, the Predator, that we have to mention, obviously all the awesome action, the great brutal fight scenes, but also a lot of one-liners from this movie that you can quote, starting with,
"If it bleeds, we can kill it." And then, "Get to the chopper!
Get to the chopper!" Yes.
Knock, knock. Only at the beginning of the movie. Yeah, there's a million of them.
Great one-liners. Just an awesome team-up film between Arnold and Carl Weathers' characters. Love them two together, going off each other in the film. Great supporting cast. Everybody was awesome. Obviously Jesse the Body Ventura, this larger-than-life wrestler coming over to the big screen, and he really sells that character. And he's always got a big thick wad of chew in his lip, and he's ready to kick some ass. He's got that kind of, and he carries around that massive Gatling gun in the jungle, and you get to see him fire that. Bill Duke in the role, he has a really great scene where he's the only one that has seen the Predator, and he's trying to tell Carl Weathers that, look, he's up in the tree, you can see him. Some great work by all these actors who really sell this story. And you mentioned Jean-Claude Van Damme before, and a different Predator, concept that they had for the look of the Predator. It just wouldn't have worked as much. I feel like, what they decided on was the best look, and these characters, especially Arnold Schwarzenegger, going toe to toe with it at the end, it really hits home. If the Predator didn't look right, it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, and there was that one character that's always shaving his face, dry shaving. I guess
Bill Duke.
I couldn't think of the guy's name. I've seen him in a bunch of movies, but he was really fantastic in this. So yeah, lots of great one-liners, lots of suspense.
Gonna have me some fun.
Yeah, Shane Black always cracking really dirty jokes. Yeah, but throughout the film, you just see them getting picked off one by one. Really great death scenes, kill scenes. Carl Weathers being one of the more memorable ones, getting his arm chopped off in like slow motion, and then other ones. Really, especially you don't really see it, but you can hear the agony and pain he's going through while the Predator's killing him. Just a lot of classic scenes, great practical effects. The skinning of bodies hanging upside down. kind of his
Brutal.
trademark, the Predator's trademark, and the skulls, and like how he has all these contraptions on them and stuff, and how he gets it down to the bone. And it's like a trophy kind of thing. And then they explore that more in Predator 2. But you can see that this otherworldly alien, taking out these people, there's really no match until old Uncle Dutch kicks some ass towards the end of the movie. Best part of the movie, in my opinion, is old Dutch and Predator duking it out, and we find out how he can, really fight this Predator alien creatures. He's down in the water, he gets mud all over him, so the Predator, from his point of view, can't see him from the heat signatures. So they start duking it out. He sets up all these cool contraptions, how to trap it, and sets up the end of the movie, which is really fucking awesome. It gets better and better every viewing you see of it. It's really funny. And also another great one-liner, "You are one ugly motherfucker," when he takes off his
Great
mask.
one.
But really
Yes.
setting up an awesome 80s over-the-top action ending, and setting up, to the sequel Predator 2. But seeing Dutch go out on top, one of Arnold's best performances. I think it's criminally underrated. He's known for Terminator, but I love Predator. It's up there for the top performances from him, and a character I always wanted to see return to this franchise and do something awesome, but maybe one day.
He's a badass from the first shot of the movie where he's getting off the helicopter with the hat, the big stogie.
Yeah.
Young back then. What I noticed when they showed his face, I could see his son a lot. Like it looked like Patrick.
Yeah, I noticed that
Schwarzenegger.
too.
I was like, damn, he really looks like his son right
But
there.
his son looks like him.
Yeah, exactly. Just a great movie, fun movie, action packed, not too long, not too short, the perfect amount of time, a great watch. I used to watch this all the time, on Saturdays. It'd be like the big movie night. Throw Predator on. It's classic. So much greatness to talk about. We could talk about every frame of the movie. We could go on and on. I love the Predator, the clicking sound that he makes when he's up in the tree.
Mhm.
Awesome. Another thing that I love, the sound effects. But yeah, we could go on and on about this movie. We both enjoy the hell out of it. And, they made some sequels here. We just got a great one. But nothing lives up quite to the very first one, Predator, 1987 from John McTiernan.
It got straight to the point, balls to the wall action. That's all you need. John McTiernan, great director. Die Hard, love those movies. He had those, over the top action movies back in the 80s. They just can't do those anymore. People weren't as sensitive back then. It was just fun, and that's why they work. This goes down in probably my top 20 best and greatest horror movies of all time, for sure. It's a movie I've revisited so many times. Each viewing, I always notice something different. With this past viewing, I noticed the Predator at the end, after it's going to explode, it mimics Billy's voice when it's laughing. I never noticed that till recently, so that's kind of cool. So it's something else, some more mythology to this alien species, to what they're capable of. So really cool. A movie, it just gets better and better, and a movie we both highly recommend if you've not seen it. If you haven't seen it, what the hell are you doing? You gotta go watch this now. It's streaming on Hulu right now. So that being said, talking about Predator from 1987, one of the greatest horror movies ever made. It's a perfect movie for me, and I love it more and more each time. So that being said, giving Predator a 5 out of 5 Arnold hair pieces.
This is one of my favorite movies ever. Classic movie. I love the horror, sci-fi, perfectly blended together. So many brutal kills from the Predator himself, and then that climactic fight scene. Some of the best, one of the best showdowns ever in a movie. This movie's rewatchable, so rewatchable. One of the classics. It features, in his prime, Arnold Schwarzenegger, firing off huge machine guns with grenade launchers, and it's an awesome movie. So if you're out there and you haven't watched this yet, don't wait any longer. So with that being said, I'm going to give 1987's Predator a 5 out of 5 Billy hair pieces.
Interested in hearing your guys' thoughts on the original Predator from 1987. What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to click subscribe. Also, check out these wild boys on our social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV, movie news and reviews. And always our YouTube channel for the latest, greatest TV, movie videos. Woo!
We do a lot over here at Cinephellas, don't we, boys? Yes, we do. And we're going to be back. We're going to review the sequel to Predator. That's right, Predator 2, starring old Danny Glover. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for joining us for our review of Predator. So until the next time, we got to get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
Cheers.
Welcome to the jungle. We have money.